The afternoon my phone buzzed, I was halfway through a lukewarm cup of coffee. The screen lit up with a message from my brother. "I'm quitting my job. You'll cover us while I figure things out." I actually laughed. One of those shocked, single-syllable laughs that sound more like a cough. Then I read it again. And that's when the room got a bit too quiet. Because in that moment, my family didn't ask me to help. They told me, and I realized something awful. We'd finally said the quiet part out loud. "Hi, I'm Tiffany Blake, 29, and apparently my family's emergency fund with a heartbeat. The responsible one. The one who always has it together. You know that role? The one where you work your butt off, make smart choices, and somehow end up subsidizing everyone else's chaos? Yeah, that's me." I stared at that text, heart thudding in my chest, fingers hovering over the keyboard. For about 5 seconds, the old guilt tried to kick in. Then, click. My thumbs just moved. That's not on me. 15 minutes later, a second message came in. This one was from my dad, all caps. No punctuation except rage. "Sign the $180,000 loan for your brother, or you're cut off from this family. No please, no love you, nothing." Just the digital equivalent of someone slamming a door in your face, while their messages stacked up in our family chat like little grenades. I opened my laptop, not to look at loan documents, but at an email I'd been sitting on for weeks. Subject line, "Job offer, Berlin." An entire new life sitting one click away. To really understand, we have to rewind a bit. I grew up in a quiet suburb outside Denver. You know, the kind, neat lawns, barbecues in summer. Everyone pretending everything was fine. My parents used to say, "We're a team." Well, yeah. But we had very defined positions on that team. I was the utility player's straight A's. Part-time job stacking shelves at the grocery store, saving every spare dollar for a used laptop. My older brother, Brandon? He was the dreamer, the one who needed a bit more support. When he crashed his first car, Dad called it a learning moment. When I bought my first car, he asked if I could lend Brandon gas money. Classic. At uni, I stitched together scholarships and cheap textbook swaps. Brandon switched majors like outfits, business, film, marketing, something called digital ideation. And each new pivot came with a whispered phone call from Mom. "He just needs a little help, sweetie. You've always got things together." By the time we were both adults, a little help had evolved into a permanent feature of my monthly budget. It started small Sunday brunch bills, the occasional forgotten wallet. Then the family phone plan magically expanded to include Brandon just for a few months. Cheaper to bundle, right? Before long, my car insurance had his name on it too. Then came the big one, health insurance. "He can't go without coverage, honey, just until he figures things out." Right. I didn't question it at the time. I was earning, well, renting in Denver, saving, doing what a responsible adult does. But eventually, my internal data analyst brain, the one that loves spreadsheets, decided to tally everything, each transfer, each bill, each quiet bailout. And the total? It made my stomach drop. Every time my parents said, "Family balance is out," it all evens in the end. The numbers screamed otherwise. Spoiler, it never evened out. Then, out of nowhere, came Berlin. An email from our European headquarters offering me a promotion. Lead data analyst, relocation package, housing help, the whole deal. I read it 3 times. Same salary, same company, different continent, fresh start. A dream. Naturally, the first person I called was Mom. She sounded thrilled for about 9 seconds. "Wow, sweetheart, that's amazing. Berlin. Imagine that." Then, in the same breath, but with Brandon still trying to stabilize, "Is now really the time to move halfway around the world?" And there it was. That familiar thud of guilt landing right where excitement should live. She softened her tone so quickly I nearly didn't notice. "He's fragile right now, love. If you leave, what message does that send?" In their world, my opportunities were always negotiable. Brandon's comfort was not. While I was debating Berlin, my brother and his girlfriend Kayla upgraded to a flashy downtown loft for the brand. Exposed brick, fancy lights, and an electric neon sign with the podcast logo. They called them investments. I called them future Venmo requests. Every week brought a new reason for me to spot them. Gas, rent, studio gear, software subscriptions. Apparently, success was always one invoice away. Meanwhile, I was logging 50-hour weeks, rationing my annual leave like bullion. Every time I hesitated, Mom would say, "We don't know what we'd do without you, darling. You're our rock." It took years for me to realize rock meant financial support beam. One random Tuesday night, I got a text. "Family Zoom at 7. Important. Never a good sign, right?" Heart emojis mean absolutely nothing once you've been ambushed like that before. I logged on. There they were, and Dad in their kitchen, Brandon and Kayla in matching hoodies, grinning like presenters on Shark Tank Family Edition. Dad cleared his throat. "All right, everyone's here. Maddie, they still call me Maddie. We've got something exciting to show you." Mom clicked share screen, up popped a PDF labeled, "The Carter Collective Studio Rebrand and Wellness Hub Proposal." Slide after slide perfectly polished. Loft photos, logos, mock websites. Under projected budget sat a neat little box. Bank loan, $180,000. Cosigner, Tiffany Blake. I actually snorted. "You've got to be kidding." Brandon leaned closer to the camera. "Come on, it's just on paper, sis. You won't actually be paying it." Mom chimed in gently. "We'd do it ourselves, sweetheart. But the bank says we need someone with strong credit. You have a great record. It's just reassurance." Dad nodded solemnly, like he was offering me a medal. This is how families build wealth together. Translation: "We want your signature, not your opinion. The first nitrogen monoxide." I took a breath. No. The screen went silent. 4 stunned faces blinked back at me. Dad frowned. "Come again?" "I'm not co-signing a $180,000 loan," I said. "Not for a podcast studio. Not for anything." They acted as if I'd spat on the flag. Brandon laughed. "Relax, Maddie. It's not a big deal. You trust me, right? This isn't about trust. It's about risk. If it all goes sideways, and it probably will, the bank comes for me." Mom's eyes welled up instantly. "After all we've done for you, we're just asking for support." Kayla chimed in, because of course she did. "You sitting on savings while your brother struggles is actually cruel." That word hit me hard. Cruel. Dad's voice roared through the speaker. "We didn't raise a selfish brat." Honestly, that was the moment the script flipped for good. Something inside me just steadied. I opened a new tab on my laptop, credit report. Because if they were desperate enough to stage a business pitch, what else had they done behind the curtain? The $5,000 discovery? Scrolling. Credit cards, car, apartment lease, and then a personal loan. $5,000. Purpose: home improvement. Taken out a year and a half ago. Mailing address: mine. Property: my parents' house. Oh no, I remembered the new flooring they bragged about. Dad joking about finally getting approved. It wasn't their approval, it was mine. They'd used my details, my social, my credit. No permission, no warning. I just sat there staring at the screen, shaking. That $5,000 loan was proof. Proof that love in my family came with interest. And if I didn't stop it there, the next line on that report wouldn't be $5,000. It'll be $180,000. So, I made a quiet promise. The free ride ends now. After the Zoom, things got weird. Mom started sending me soft guilt messages. "We know you didn't mean to upset your brother. Let's talk when you've cooled off." Brandon went for the social media subtweets. Inspirational quotes about toxic family holding you back. Dad gave me the full cold shoulder, his favorite punishment. Meanwhile, that Berlin email sat waiting. HR followed up once, then twice. Every time my finger hovered over accept offer, then chickened out. Until that Thursday afternoon, the day my brother texted, "I'm quitting my job. You'll help us while I figure it out." That was it. The last straw embedded directly in my spine. The reply typed itself, "That's not on me." 15 minutes later came Dad's all-caps ultimatum. "Sign the loan or you're out." I read it 3 times. No confusion, no subtext. So I opened that Berlin email, hovered over the big blue button, and clicked accept. The second the confirmation page loaded, I felt something strange peace. Not euphoria, just quiet certainty. Then I got practical. If they'd used my name once, they could do it again. So I started cutting ties, not emotional ones, financial ones. Phone plan? Canceled. Car insurance bundle? Untangled. Health insurance temporary favor? Terminated. I logged into my bank, halted every automatic transfer labeled help or spot, then froze my credit at all 3 bureaus. While I worked through the list, my phone buzzed nonstop. ... Texts, calls, guilt paragraphs, all from the team. My dad accused me of being ungrateful. Mom said I was proving money mattered more than love. Brandon said something about me being jealous of his lifestyle, which, last I checked, was built on my debit card. Kayla chimed in about stability hoarders. At one point, Mom video called. I answered. Not to argue, just to end things cleanly. Her face filled the screen, eyes red. "How could you do this? Your brother counted on you." Dad's voice barked from somewhere off screen. "Call the bank. Fix this now." I quietly opened my spreadsheet, the one that held 10 years of help. Turned my camera so they could see rows, dates, notes, totals. "This is what I've already done," I said. "This is how much your help has cost me." Dad shook his head. "We didn't raise you to nickel and dime your own blood." I smiled, thin and tired. "You raised me to fix everything. Not anymore." Then I did something sacrilegious in our family dynamic. I pressed end call while he was still shouting, muted the group chat, turned the phone face down. By midnight, 56 missed calls, dozens of texts I didn't open, and one fresh email from HR titled, "Welcome to Berlin. Touchdown, Berlin." For the first time in my adult life, my phone was quiet. The city was crisp, weirdly clean, alive with a kind of order that made my anxious brain sigh out loud. I threw myself into work, new office, new team, new everything. I was 6 time zones and one entirely different life away from Denver, and for a while, silence held me like a blanket. Then tiny ripples of information started sneaking through the grapevine. My aunt messaged on Facebook, every family's unofficial newswire. She opened with the classic disclaimer, "Not my business, but," which obviously meant it absolutely was her business. Apparently, my parents and Brandon had gone ahead and applied for the $180,000 loan anyway, without a cosigner. Shocker. They got denied. Turns out vibes don't count as financial collateral. Banks, eh? No sense of adventure. A week later, my credit monitoring pinged. Attempted inquiry blocked, credit file frozen. That bland little notification felt like pure victory. Meanwhile, word was spreading. My parents' version, Tiffany, abandoned her brother when he needed her most, didn't stick for long. Because once my aunt mentioned the part about them using my social security number, sympathy evaporated faster than hot coffee on a dashboard. Relatives started asking my mom, why does a 30-year-old man still need his sister to sign for him? The silence after that question was beautiful. Without my quiet payments propping things up, their world rearranged itself fast. Brandon's downtown loft? Gone. Landlords don't take manifestation as rent. Kayla lasted a few ramen-filled weeks before packing up. Their breakup spilled across social media in vague midnight posts about outgrowing people. Dad sold the family house, Mom called it simplifying. My aunt called it finally paying the piper. They even posted a few pseudo-apology statuses online. The emotional equivalent of, "We're all learning, please don't unfollow us." From across the ocean, I watched it all like reruns of a show I used to star in. Except this time, I wasn't funding the next season. New Year's Eve arrived before I knew it. Berlin was freezing, the kind of cold that pinches your nose just for fun, but it was magic. A few coworkers and I stood on a balcony above the street, sparklers in hand, laughing because none of us knew all the same words to Auld Lang Syne. When I got back to my flat, cheeks pink from the wind, I saw the notifications waiting. A group message from my family grainy selfies in a tiny rental living room. Caption: "Missing those who aren't with us this year." And one private text from Mom. "We hope you'll come home next Christmas. Your brother's trying. We're all hurting." I sat there for a while reading it. A year ago, I'd have been wrecked by it. Now, I just felt distant. Not angry. Just clear. I looked around my little apartment, plants thriving, rent paid, every single bill in my own name, and no line in my spreadsheet labeled family bailouts. That distance felt like freedom. A few days later, I actually rang them. It wasn't cinematic. No tearful reunion, no violins swelling. Mom sounded small. Dad was quieter than usual. They didn't exactly apologize. It was more like, "We're sorry if you felt that way." But tucked inside the half apologies was something real. Dad admitted using my details had been out of line. Mom said she understood why I locked my credit. Brandon popped on the call briefly, muttered, "I'm working now, figuring stuff out," then mumbled goodbye. No big gestures, just awkward honesty. And oddly, that was enough for now. The real transformation didn't happen in Berlin. It happened quietly in how I started living. Therapy every week, where I said the phrase financial abuse out loud for the first time. A savings account that finally grew without sprouting leaks. Learning the fine art of saying no without adding an essay after it. Simple joys, cheap noodles that I actually like. Walks alone with a podcast instead of dinners where I forget my wallet's right there. My new spreadsheet still exists, but it's for me now. It tracks travel goals, classes I want to take, savings milestones. No family emergency column. I've learned that responsibility and self-sacrifice aren't synonyms. Being good with money doesn't make you the family piggy bank. And love, real love, doesn't require you to destroy your own peace to prove it. If any of this sounds familiar, if you're the reliable one, the fixer, the peacekeeper, the one they call when something breaks, you're probably exhausted, and you've probably convinced yourself that saying no makes you cold or cruel. But here's the truth. They don't tell us. You are allowed to stop saving people who refuse to save themselves. Your worth isn't measured in how much you give until you collapse. Sometimes, love means walking away before you drown under their excuses. I thought choosing myself made me heartless. It didn't. It made me free. So yeah, my brother lost his downtown loft. My parents downsized their dream home. And me? I finally found a version of my life that's mine. I didn't need to yell or fight or prove them wrong. I just stopped funding my own mistreatment. If you've ever been made to feel responsible for everyone else's survival, take this story as your sign. You can walk away, you can start over. You can buy your one-way ticket and click accept offer on the life they told you you weren't allowed to have. And if anyone calls that cruel, smile, because that word doesn't mean what they think it means. If this story hit home, hit subscribe to join our community here on Revenge Diary. Every daily, we share true stories of people drawing the line, finally. Share this video with the friend who's always the responsible one. She might need to know she's allowed to save herself, too.